when this album starts out, it has a heavy keyboard thing going on, organ thing going on, and it's to the tune of, well, I think I'm going out of my head, or mind. I'm not sure how that song goes. Well, I think I'm going out, and which kind of really sums up the album in a lot of ways. This is Alice Cooper's first album, Pretties for You, and it came out in June 25, 1969, and I saw them June 21st at the Toronto Pop Festival, like 4 days before this album came out. And they weren't a scheduled band at the festival, and they came out on a Saturday afternoon, the first band, and it was just total chaos. It was like, what is going on? Nobody had heard of them before, and they were all dressed up basically like this. But they were all mostly in silver kind of outfits, and as they played, the outfits would start to rip and tear, and they threw drumsticks at each other, and the drummer at one point got up and went right around the outside of the drum kit, did a big major solo, and everybody's just playing. It was literally chaos. And I do remember the song was on Nobody Likes Me, and it was supposed to be on this album, and it isn't. And Alice Cooper had a door on stage, and he opened the door and he said, I can just remember this very vividly, and he said, nobody likes me, nobody likes me, and he was kind of like almost in tears, and the band would go, yes we do, yes we do. It never made the album, unfortunately, but it was a great stage show, and from that moment on, I had to see Alice Cooper, and I saw them one more time with the Love It to Death, and I went to see them in the Killer tour, but they got snowed out in Ottawa. So anyways, this album for the first album for Alice Cooper, this is the perfect first album. It's just plain weird. I mean, I listened to it you can listen to this album 10 times, and it's always, you don't know what's coming next, even if you listen to it over and over again. And I wrote some things down here because there's so many things about this album. It's psychedelic, it's sci-fi. That's what they labeled themselves when they came out on stage. Science fiction rock. And they're creepy, and they're quirky, and spooky. Sounds like the Addams Family. And they're sometimes just plain silly. And the more I listen to this lately, after not hearing it for quite a few years, I love it. I mean, the production is crappy. Sometimes it's like they're underwater, and I guess they just they're credited for production, but a lot of it is from demos that they were doing or practicing at the time. It's on Zappa's label at the time, Straight, but Zappa never got involved. And actually, this is a painting that was on Frank's wall that they used. It's kind of creepy on its own, and I guess later on it was stolen. So anyways, this album basically tells the whole story for what was to come. The song Reflected would become Elected later on, and this is on this album, and the wild guitar. Sometimes there's nothing, and then all of a sudden there's a wild guitar thrown in there, and I love the wild guitar. I like the lo-fi sound myself. I've never been it doesn't sound right. I've never been that worried about production, as long as the music's there. Well, unless it's really crappy, but I mean, this is just suits the music perfectly. So if you want to hear Alice Cooper's first album, this is the one to get, because this is his first album, Pretties for You. I absolutely love this picture. Love it. I love it to death.